Oh, hey, come in, have a seat. I pulled up a chair for you. Just have a seat there. Make yourself comfortable. Okay, thank you for coming by my office. No, I don't mind at all. Thank you. So, today, I understand that you need some help with obtaining forms for patent application and prosecution matters. So, that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so we're going to start out here. You start with this website right here. You're gonna go up into your little bar here, and you're going to type www.uspto.gov. You hit enter. That's going to take you right here. And sometimes you'll get a window that will pop up asking you if you want to give feedback on their site. We're not going to do that right now. Oh, and this guy, this is so cool. This guy invented the Super Soaker. His name is Lonnie Johnson, and he filed his application with the USPTO, and he has at least one patent on the Super Soaker. Of course, you would need a trademark for the name, but for the product itself, you would file a patent application. And this was his prototype right here. So it's pretty cool. Alright, so when you want to go to the forms, you're going to come to the regular USPTO site, and then you're going to go to patents, which is this first one right here. You also have trademarks, IP policy, which is intellectual property, and learning and resources, where you can get resources by audience like attorneys or inventors, kids, media, services, and help by a topic. You can look up frequently asked questions. And you also have tools and links over here, like operational status, newsletters, subscriptions, glossary. You can look up different terms to see what they mean, and intellectual property programs and awards. So it's very helpful. They recently redid their website, just in the last few months. And so some of this has changed. I don't know, did you use this before the change, which was just a couple months ago? Yeah, you're going to find now that there are a lot of differences on here. So what we're going to do, we are going to click here. So you just go up to patents and just click patents. And it'll bring you to this page to get started. This is very helpful for individual inventors who may not have a patent attorney working with them. If they're going to be filing their own application, this is very useful. So, but that's not actually what we're needing. Right now we need to scroll down a little bit, and you're going to look for patent forms, which is here. These are forms for patent applications and issued patents. If you're looking up trademark forms, you won't find them here. You have to go to the trademark tab for that. So we're just going to click on patent forms. You just click there. It's going to bring you here. Now this page is broken down into two sections. And anymore, this section here you're really not going to need. This is for, these are patent forms for applications filed before September 16th, 2012, which is when the America Invents Act was live. It was once that act was official. And then you have, after the America Invents Act in 2011, it was enacted in 2011, and then it was official on September 16th, 2012. After that, you have a new set of forms. A lot of the forms changed as a result of the AIA. So any application filed after this date, September 16th, 2012, you're going to need the newer forms. They will not accept a lot of the older forms. Now, not all the forms changed. Some of them stayed the same. But just to be on the safe side, you should always click on the option to, if you look, just to show you again, it's going to be this first option for forms filed on or after September 16th, 2012. And most applications at this point would fall under this category. I can't imagine there would be many that were filed before that date that are still pending. They've either issued or not by now. I mean, that's, more than 6 years ago. So most things don't remain in limbo that long. I mean, there are always exceptions, but yeah, I think you're good. So now, you were telling me that you want to prepare an information disclosure statement. Now, you will see that these forms are in alphabetical order. Like we have appeals, the application data sheet, which is something that I'm sure you're very familiar with by now. This is one of the mainstays of your newly filed application. This is where all your information is listed. Customer number, design, that's for design patents only. Express abandonment, not something that hopefully you have to use too often. Fees, we have fee transmittal forms and maintenance fee transmittals and things. Okay. But here we have the information disclosure statement section. You see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forms. And we also have separate little links here for instructions and further information. So for the information disclosure statement form, if you're filing it online, which I would highly recommend, it's much more efficient than filing it by mail. And they've made it easier and a lot more convenient to do this online now. You're going to click on the information disclosure statement by applicant, EFS Web Auto Load version. That's the electronic filing system or software. It's either system or software. Okay. And to emphasize it right here, they put in bold, this EFS web version of the SB08, which SB/08 is the form number that the USPTO uses, is the recommended version. Just to make sure that you know, because the older version, I believe, was a little different. The good thing about filing this online is that the information that you put in here will be automatically loaded. It doesn't have to be loaded manually, which means it will be probably processed faster and it will be more convenient for the examiner, and that's always good. You want to make the patent examiner happy if possible. We want that person happy with us because that is the person who will review your application and work with you to hopefully help you obtain a patent for your application. So we want to make it easy for them. Okay, so you're going to click on this. You just click on that little link there, and it is going to open, if you'll notice right here. Oh dear, okay, it's giving me an error. And sometimes that happens. Alright, so if we are receiving this message, let's see, it says that there's a problem with Acrobat. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, and it may be that the system, sometimes they do updates, and it may be that they're in the middle of an update right now because I know I should be able to open it. That's okay though, because I happen to have one right here. This is what you would normally get when you click on the IDS form. So normally you would click on the link, and then this would come up in a separate window. This is the information disclosure statement by applicant. Okay, this is the first page. I'm going to reduce the size, and that makes it really tiny. Alright, and I made the screen a little bit darker so you can see it better. Now on this first page, you are going to put all of your information about your application. So you put your application number here. Now normally when you enter an application number, it will be 2 digits, /3 more, comma, and then 3 more after that. But you see, we don't have room for that. It's not letting us do that. What you have to do is put in all of the numbers with no slashes and no commas. So first two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will work. But you notice we can't put in any more. And it says the application number is numeric, so it's not letting me do that. So we're going to do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. All right, and your filing date, you are going to enter a certain way. You're going to do the year first. Dash. And just put in a date. You're going to put it in this format. You put in the year and the month and then the date. So this is just gibberish right here, but you would put, like say, 2010 for the month and 14 for the date or whatever. All right. The next line, you're going to enter the first named inventor, whoever your inventor is. Like we just put John Smith. And this you can really do in any format. It doesn't matter. Like John, and then you could capitalize the last name if you want to. The art unit, which you will not have if this is a newly filed application. You probably will not have an art unit, but it's going to be a 4-digit number. If you don't have it, you can leave it blank, or you could put in TBA or unknown. A lot of people just leave it blank. And then for the examiner name, this is all information you're going to be able to get from the USPTO website for your application. It's all going to be available on the first screen that you come to with all your information that includes the application number, filing date, inventor, art unit, examiner name, and all of this is going to be there. So if you have the examiner name, you can of course enter that, and you can put whatever that person's name is. Like we could say Jane Smith. So you can just, if you have it, you can put it in, but again, you can just put unknown or leave it blank. And now if you're working with if you're with a law firm and you have an attorney docket number, you will put that just below the examiner name. So whatever that happens to be, and you can use letters, numbers, characters. You can put anything in here, and they're pretty generous with the length. Like you can put in this is the number of characters right here. I mean, that's quite a lot. So if you have it, you can put that in there. Okay. So once you have entered that information, we are ready to come down here. Now the next section is where you're going to disclose any U.S. patents that you might have used in your search, or that you might have located in your search for relevant patents. If you have to do your due diligence and look for other patents that may be similar to yours. So you can, in the information disclosure statement, you're just saying, okay, these are things that the examiner might want to look at when considering my application for issue as a patent. These may present problems, and I am aware of these patents or applications. I need to let the examiner know about these so they can look at them. Now, the Patent Office will do their own search, but you also need to provide any information that you have for them to look at. So the U.S. patent numbers can be 7 or 8 digits. We recently passed 10 million patents issued in the United States, which is very exciting. They even changed the whole format of the front page of the issued patent for the 10 millionth patent, which is kind of cool. So for this, you're going to put, you don't want to put in any commas. So if you tried to say patent 9 million, 999, comma, 999, oh, it actually does. Well, let's see. Nope. See, you can type it, but it won't stay. Let's see, patent numbers can be up to 13 characters, with the first two being alphanumeric. Okay, so that's actually, okay, for this one you can. You can put in commas. And then the kind code, for a lot of newer ones, it's probably going to be B2. For older patents, before they started publishing them as applications, you're not going to have a kind code. You don't have to put in anything here if you don't want to. Say we have 999. I don't even know what that is. B2. And then the issue date, you're going to put in year. I don't even know what year that would have been. 2018 dash 01. I don't know if that's right or not. It's not going to tell you whether it's right or not. You just have to put in the information, and I don't know the inventor. We'll just put Smith et al., which you would put in if there was more than one inventor. And you don't have to fill this out if you don't want to. This is where you put in the pages, columns, or lines where the relevant passages or relevant figures appear. I find it's better to just cite the entire thing and not put anything here, but that's not how everybody does it. But that way it cites the whole patent and the examiner can look at the whole thing. You're not just narrowing it down to one or two little things. You're saying, go look at the whole thing. Okay. And then you go to U.S. Patent Application Publications. Now this is where you have a U.S. application, a patent application that has not issued as a patent. They will publish unless you file a request for non-publication. They will eventually publish, and then you will be provided with a publication number. Now this one has a certain format as well. Like say you put 2018 and you tried to put in a slash, I don't know, 001. It's not going to let you because you get a little error that says the publication number is numeric. It will not let you put in any dashes or anything else, so you would have to put 2018, no slash. But then if you put, say you wanted to leave out, you want to do 001, that is also not correct because it has to be 11 digits in length. All of the published applications in the EFS form for IDSs has to be 11 digits in length, which means you're going to put in 2018, and instead of 001, you're going to do 0001001, and it accepts that one because it's 11 digits. Now the kind code for the vast majority of published applications is going to be A1. I've actually never seen one that wasn't A1. That's the first publication of that application. And then you're going to enter the publication date just like you did for the issued patent. And I don't know the publication date of that. I'm just going to say 2018-0101, which it probably was to have a number this low. Because see, this second half, so you have 2018, the second half is the number. That's the order in which it was published in the year 2018. And for a number that low, it probably was published on January 1st or somewhere close to that. So then you come over here to, you're going to again enter the name of the patentee or applicant of the cited document. And I don't know who or what company. We're just going to put Smith et al. I don't know. And again, you have the option here also in this column to enter pages, columns, lines, where relevant passages or relevant figures appear. And you don't have to fill that out. They're not going to punish you for it or anything. In this case, you would just be saying that I want you to consider this entire publication. So they won't just look at one or two parts. I want you to look at all of it. So, all right. So then, if you have, say you have more than one patent that you want to cite, or more than one application. That is no problem with this form. Just below this row here where you put in this patent, there's a little button where you can click on this button here. You click on that to add, and it will add another row. And then you can put in other matters, like if you wanted to cite the 10 millionth patent. You don't have to put commas, but you can. You can leave them out. See? But you can't go beyond that number. Oh, maybe you can. I didn't think you could. I guess you can. 10 million B2, and then whatever date that was, 2018. I don't even know. 10/30 or something. I don't know. And we'll say that was Jones. We'll say Jones was the patentee or the applicant for that. I honestly don't know. So, and you can add more. I mean, you can add even more rows. I think there is a limit to the number you can add, but it's pretty high. I've added as many as 60 patents to one form, and it never stopped allowing me to add more. Now, say you added this row by mistake. You put this in. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I've put in all my information. Maybe I should take that out. Well, you can easily do that. If you go back up to the U.S. Patents part here, it has a button that you can click to remove, and it will remove the last row that you entered. But you do need to keep in mind, be very careful to only click it one time, because if you keep clicking, it's going to keep removing rows. And you may accidentally delete some rows you didn't mean to. I have done that. So you want to be careful not to do that. Just click it one time or two times or however many you need, because if you click it 5 times really fast, it's going to delete 5 rows. So just be mindful. It might be a good idea too, if you're deleting rows, to go back and just double check and make sure, okay, the last one I want in here is this one, and it is still there. So we're good. You can do the same with U.S. Patent Application Publications. You can click on Add to add a new row, and then you can enter more information here. And you can, you can keep going. And you can add stuff, and then you can add another row. But say you added this one by mistake. You go back up to U.S. Patent Application Publications, and there is a button there to remove. You just click it one time, only one, and it will take it back out. All right, so then you scroll on down. Now down here we have a new section. This section is for foreign patent documents. Not only do you have an obligation to cite U.S. matters that you are aware of, you also have to cite foreign patent documents. If you're aware of any published applications or issued patents in other countries that may be relevant to your application, you have a duty to the Patent Office to report those. And ideally, you want to file your first information disclosure statement within 3 months of filing the application to allow the examiner time to look at everything. If you become aware of other references later, you do have to cite those as soon as possible. And depending on where you are in prosecution, you may have to pay a fee for filing the information disclosure statement so late in the process. So ideally, it's good to cite these as soon as you can, preferably early in the process. Now, for the foreign patent documents, you're going to put in the document number. I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say we have a German patent, and it's, I don't know, it's this number. Okay. Now this field is pretty generous. You can put in numbers. You can put in slashes. You can put in, it doesn't have to be a certain format, because they understand that different countries have different. They have different methods for listing their numbers. After you put that in, you're going to come over to country code, and each country has a 2-letter code that you can look up. And for Germany, it was going to be DE. That's Germany. Or say it was Brazil, that would be BR. China, BCN. An EPO, European Patent Office matter, would be EP. But let's say this is German, so we're going to put in DE. And we're going to say the con code is A1. Oops, A1. And the publication date, I don't know, is 2000, January 1st. And the patentee is, and we're going to call it Company GmbH. Now, with foreign patent documents, you have to find out if they have an English language equivalent. Now, let's say this is a German language matter. It is not in English. It has to be in English for the U.S. Patent Office. If it does not have an English equivalent, you're going to have to provide a machine translation or some other form of translation. And again, we have this column over here where you put in pages, columns, or lines where relevant passages or relevant figures appear. But in this section, you can actually mention if it corresponds to an English language matter, an application or a published application or an issued patent. Let's say that it corresponds. Let's say it corresponds to US patent number 999. We're just making it up. So that way, that lets the examiner know, okay, they've cited this German matter. Okay, that's great. It needs to be in English. So I can go look at this patent right here, and I can read it and review it, and I can decide whether or not it's relevant or whether or not it poses a problem. Now, if you cite another application or a patent here, you must cite it up here as well. And we did, see, 9999999, and we've put in all the information about that patent. You need to make sure you have it in both places, because that is now going to be considered a separate reference that you need to cite. And just like the other ones, if you want to add more rows, you can with the add button, and then you can put in other numbers. Like we're going to say this is a Chinese matter, CN A1, and it was published, let's say 1990, 0101 or whatever. And this is for Jones or whoever. And that also is probably going to need an English translation. So let's say that Jones also obtained a U.S. patent for this Chinese matter. So you're going to put in corresponds to U.S. patent number 10 million. So he had the same matter. He filed an application for the same thing in the United States and obtained a patent for it. And that's going to be in English. So you have to make sure that that is also listed up here, which it is. And that's good. Just remember, this is all made up information. This is not in any way accurate. It's just an example. Okay. And you can add more rows. You can add as many as you need to include all of your references. But say we added a blank one by mistake. Again, not a problem. You go back up to Foreign Patent Documents and click Remove only one time. Now, it may be on the next page and you might not be able to see it. So then you're going to have to scroll back down and look. Okay, it's gone. That blank row is gone. Now, the final section of references is the non-patent literature documents. And this one, you're going to have maybe sections of books or articles. any kind of publication that may mention your matter. It may mention things relevant to your application. You're going to need to include that. Like, say we have an article written by Smith, and the article is, let's say the article is entitled Widgets. And that published in book, or whatever you want. It published in a book. You want to put in the copyright 2018. Oops. And it was from Brown Publishers. And then you want to put in, and let's say that the reference was on pages 20 to 25. So you're going to add the last name of the author, the name of the book or the article or publication, or the name of the title of whatever they wrote, what it was published in, copyright date. You can put in the month as well. That's cool. If you don't know it, you can just put the year, the publisher, and any other relevant information. If it was a journal article, you may have volume numbers, volume 1, number 8, or whatever. Or if it was a magazine, and then you're going to put the page numbers where they can find it. We'll say they're pages 20 to 25. You will also need to include a copy of this with your information disclosure statement. You're going to have to file that. You're going to need a PDF of that section of the book. And you also want to include in your copy a photocopy of the first page that shows the information of the book, and then your pages right here, 20 to 25. Another thing you can do, like say you have another pending application that is similar to this, and you want to make the examiner aware of it. Let's say you filed an application for a widget, but you also filed a different application for a method of making the widget. There's something a little different, and you had to file a separate patent application for it. You can also cite that in here if you want, and I think examiners find that helpful. So you're going to put, let's say, what did we say your last name was? First name inventor is John Smith, so we're going to come back down here, and we're going to put Smith US application. This application number XX, and just whatever it is, comma, filed January 1st, 2019. That makes the examiner aware, hey, you know what? There's this other application. It has not published yet, but I wanted you to be aware of it. So if you want to look at that, maybe something you need to take a look at, and the examiner can look at it even though it hasn't published yet. Because if you don't have a published application number, you cannot enter it up here under patent application publications. You would need a separate place to enter that. And you can put it down here in the non-patent literature documents if you want to. So down here is just basically where you could put anything that doesn't really fit in the other categories, but you do need to include as much information about each entry as possible to help the examiner find it. And if you cite an application that is not published, you do not have to include a copy of that. The examiner can go look at it. They don't need a copy. Okay, the next line is examiner's signature. You don't need to do anything here. The examiner will address that later. The next page, we're going to have the certification statement. And you do have to check one of these boxes. If you don't, the examiner will point it out later and they will have a problem with it. You may have to resubmit the information disclosure statement with one of these boxes checked. They didn't used to be quite so strict on it, but now they've started cracking down on that. right. The first box says, each item of information contained in this information disclosure statement was first cited in any communication from a foreign patent office in a counterpart foreign application not more than 3 months prior to the filing of the information disclosure statement. That would apply if you had an application for a corresponding foreign matter. Like, say you filed this application in Germany and you received some communication from the German patent office with some objections, and they cited some references. Any references they cite, you're also going to have to include in an information disclosure statement for a United States patent. So if that were the case, you would want to do it as soon as possible, but definitely within 3 months. If that's the case, then you would check the little box here. Or the next one, that no item of information contained in the information disclosure statement was cited in a communication from a foreign patent office in a counterpart foreign application, and, to the knowledge of the person signing the certification after making reasonable inquiry, no item of information contained in the information disclosure statement was known to any individual designated in 37 CFR 1.56C more than 3 months prior to the filing of the information disclosure statement. So this is information that you had that didn't necessarily come from foreign counsel or something. It's just stuff you knew about. So you're saying, I didn't know about it for more than 3 months. Or you could submit a certification statement. If you're doing that, you check that box. And sometimes you have to file an IDS with a fee. If you do, you will check the fee box. If you file it within 3 months or before receiving a first office action, you won't have to pay anything. Sometimes even then you won't, depending if you can check one of the other two. More often than not, you're going to check the last box that says a certification statement is not submitted herewith, which is kind of funny, seeing as how the title of this is a certification statement. But so you are submitting one, but you're saying you're not. Oh, so that's kind of funny. But so then you will sign it. You will put a / John Smith. And you put a / before and after your name. The date has to be in this format: year-month-date 2018 and whatever the date is. And then down here you're going to print your name. Let's put John Smith. And your registration number would only apply if you were an attorney, which you're not. So if you're an individual filing it, you don't have to put anything there. And then your information disclosure statement is all ready to be filed. But you also have to remember to include copies of any foreign references or non-patent literature. You're going to have to submit copies of those. You do not have to submit copies of United States patents or published applications. The examiner can obtain those, so you don't have to. You used to have to submit them. And back when you had to file these by mail, it was a real undertaking. But you don't have to do that anymore, which is great. So that, in a nutshell, is the information disclosure statement form. I hope you found this helpful. Do you think this is going to help you with your work? Did this answer your questions? Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad I could help you today. Thank you so much for stopping by and looking at the form with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.